Hello and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Jessica McDonald. I am a knitting pattern designer and I'm coming to you from a tiny town in the mountains of Idaho where I live with my husband, our 4 children, and 38 animals, including cats, dogs, chickens, and sheep. Today is Monday, August 28th. It has been a very, very long time since my last podcast. I won't bore you with any of the details. I think the last one was April or May. No, March maybe? But it's been several months. I got very burnt out through last winter, last spring, last fall. So I decided to take a little break, and then summer got away from me, and then I got really sick, and now I'm back. So my voice might still be a little bit off, and I'm probably going to cough every once in a while through this episode, but I will try to keep that to as much of a minimum as I can. I have decided to make a few changes to my YouTube channel now that I'm coming back. I'm going to do my absolute best to post a large video every week, once a week. And when I say large video, I mean a podcast, or I'm going a regular knitting podcast where I show you what I'm working on. I'm also going to start a new category of video that I'm going to call Designer Chat. I think that will be the final name of it, is Designer Chat. And if you've watched my podcast for a really long time, you will know that I tend to go off on a really lengthy tangent sometime and just talk at length about a knitting related or designing related subject. And so I've decided to give those rambles their own separate category and have it be called Designer Chat. So I'll have my knitting podcasts where I show you what I'm working on and talk through my projects, and then I'll have my designer chat where I can go off on tangents about grading or designing or anything else really related to knitting or designing. If you have any questions you'd like to ask me for that, for the designer chat videos, or any topics you would like me to cover, you are free to suggest them down in the comments. Coming back, I'm also going to give myself permission to not respond to all of the comments. Over the course of the last year, my audience has grown substantially, and it has gotten really difficult to respond to all of the comments and messages that I get on all of the different platforms. So I'm going to give myself permission to not respond to your comments here on YouTube. I do appreciate that you comment on my videos, and I am going to look through them and read your comments, but I'm not going to take the time always to respond. I might, but I might not, because I only have a limited amount of time and a limited amount of energy, and if I spend all of my energy responding to comments on the internet, I could respond to 100 a day easily, and then I don't have any energy. There's a weird noise. Sorry, I think there's like a bug in here or something. Sorry. I can easily get 100 emails, comments, messages a day on all the different platforms, and I simply do not have the time or energy to respond to all of them anymore. So I appreciate your comments, I appreciate your messages, I appreciate all of those things, but I simply do not have the time and energy to respond to all of them anymore. That being said, if you do need to get a hold of me, you have a pattern support question or something of that kind, you are free to email me. My email is jessicamknits@gmail.com. I'll put that down in the description box down below this video in case you need to get in touch with me. It's also in the footer of all of my patterns, so if you do need to email me a question about pattern support or something like that, it's handy for you, so you can very quickly send that over to me. So I'm also going to be starting another section of my YouTube channel that I'm going to, I haven't quite decided on the name yet. I'm kind of thinking like something like sweater class or knit class or something like that. I have received many requests for a really highly detailed tutorial slash class. Really, it's gonna, like, what I have planned is gonna be more class than tutorial on how to knit a sweater. Like, walk you through the entire process from casting on to laying out, blocking, you know, the whole process, start to finish. And so I have a pattern that I'm going to use my wood smoke pattern. It's one of my older ones, but I wrote it for a brand new first sweater pattern, you know, your very first sweater. It's very simple. So I'm going to use that pattern as my demonstration sweater. I've got the yarn, I'm looking at it sitting right over across the room. I've got the yarn ready to go. I've just been waiting for my voice to come back so that I can start filming and not sound like I smoke 100 packs a day. So that will be coming. I'm also planning to regularly post new tutorials, and when I say tutorials, I mean something rather short that covers one single technique, like one specific cast on or one specific way to I don't know, bind off. Whatever, like the cabled cast on. I need to do a tutorial for that, and I have also on my list a tutorial on how to do a folded over neckline, and so little things like that that'll only be a few minutes long. I want to film those regularly, post those regularly, and also every once in a while have one of those big sweater classes. The one that I have planned that I'm going to start filming hopefully tomorrow will be on how to knit a top-down yoke sweater, like circular yoke sweater. You could apply it to a top-down raglan style sweater, but the increases will be at a different place and at a different rate. But you could still apply that information to there. So subscribe to my channel because I have a lot of really, really cool things planned for it. I'm gonna put a lot more time and energy into my YouTube channel, partially because Instagram doesn't have the same returns that it used to for the amount of time that you put into it, and I think that's true. If any of you who are watching this, if you have a small business that you market on Instagram, you will be nodding right along with me. You put a lot of time and energy into Instagram and your reach is just extremely low. So that's kind of why I'm shifting a little bit, and I'm going to put more time and energy into my YouTube channel and a little bit less into Instagram, because I think that will be a better use of my time and energy. But please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I have a lot of fantastic things planned. I even bought a brand new vlogging camera, so if you see that this the quality of this video is hopefully better than my old ones, because I have a brand new camera that's specifically for vlogging. So I'm very excited. I've been playing around with it, and I'm pretty excited about this camera. So, excuse me. Another thing is I'm going to try to keep my videos a little bit shorter, around 20 to 30 minutes, but I can see that I have already been talking for 8 minutes, and I really didn't show you anything yet. So that might not work out, but I'm going to try to do shorter videos, like 20 to 30 minutes. That's the length that I don't know why I'm fiddling with the lens cap. That's kind of the length that I like to watch, because I can make a hot cup of tea, I can sit down, I can knit, I can have a 20 to 30 minute break, and it's just a perfect little middle of the day rest. A little bit of quiet time, a little bit of time to myself. I really enjoy watching videos of that length, so that's why I'm going to try to make my videos be the length that I enjoy watching. So, excuse me. So today I'm going to show you the slipover that I am currently wearing. You can see I've got it on. It is already a finished object. You never saw it as a whip because I started this during, right at the beginning of summer. So we went over Memorial Day weekend, which is at the end of May here in the United States. We went to visit my family, and we went to church, and on the drive to church, we saw a sign that said yarn and notions and a big flag out, you know, to get your attention. And I was like, obviously we are going to stop there on the way back home. So we stopped on the way back to my parents' house after church, and it was open on Sunday because they were shearing that weekend, shearing their alpacas that weekend, and so they had it open on Sunday even though they would ordinarily be closed, so that people could come and watch the shearing, which was pretty lucky for me, which was really cool. It was a little store called Yarnageddon, and it's located in Marsing, Idaho, which is a very small town in the Treasure Valley of Idaho, which is over on the western side of the state. I'm on the eastern side of the state. So we popped in there, it was really cool, met the owner, met the alpacas, and I bought some yarn, some alpaca yarn. Usually I do not wear alpaca because I find it irritating, but the owner, I talked to the owner about that, and she assured me that her alpacas were different because she very specifically breeds them for a really soft fiber and to make sure that they don't have any guard hairs. Apparently alpacas have guard hairs. I did not know that, but her alpacas are bred so that they do not have guard hairs, so that her alpaca is not irritating when you wear it, which a lot of people talk about how soft alpaca is, and I've never been able to wear it before. But this is knit out of alpaca, and as you can see, it's all over my neck, and my neck is my most sensitive part. When I first put this on, I do feel it a little bit, but after a few minutes, I don't feel it anymore. It just feels fine. So this is knit in 100% alpaca yarn from alpacas that I saw on Memorial Day weekend, and I bought, I don't even remember how much yarn I bought. 6 skeins, 5 or 6 skeins of alpaca yarn from her to knit this slipover in. So it was really fun for me to meet the alpacas and to actually see where the where the yarn comes from, where the fiber comes from. And she also has a little fiber mill. So she has the alpacas there and she has her fiber mill there. And so this yarn was created like in a 5-acre section of land, and then I bought it, which was really cool. It was grown there and milled there and sold there. So that was really cool for me. I will put the information for Yarnageddon down in the description box below. Unfortunately, she does not have a website that you could buy her yarn from online. So that's one disadvantage to using this yarn for this slipovers. I know a lot of you really like to use the same yarn I use. And unless you live in the Treasure Valley of Idaho and can actually go to Yarnageddon and buy the yarn there in her store, you're not going to be able to use the same yarn. But it is a worsted weight, so you could use any worsted weight yarn, and if you find a 100% alpaca yarn, you'll have largely the same experience as I did. Sign up for my newsletter because actually I'm gonna have to pause for a moment there. By the time this video comes out, this pattern might have just been released. But when I do release a new pattern, one of the emails I send out is a yarn substitution and recommendations email. So I will tell you about the yarn that I used, and I'll tell you where to find it, and then I'll tell you if you don't want to use this yarn, here are some other options that will be fantastic for this sweater. So if you're signed up to my email newsletter, you will get those emails with yarn recommendations, but it's the second or third email that I send out, and depending on when you're watching this, that might have already gone out to people. Excuse me. You should really sign up for my newsletter if you like my designs. If you don't use the same Yarnageddon alpaca that I used, I'll just tell you now. For best results, I think you should use a drapey yarn, a yarn with some drape in it. Alpaca has quite a bit of drape in it. If you don't use alpaca, you can look for a different worsted weight yarn that does have drape to it, like a merino yarn, or I don't generally recommend superwash yarns, but a superwash yarn would have decent drape to it, but I still don't recommend superwash yarns usually. Look for something that is worsted spun. Worsted spun and woolen spun are two different ways of spinning wool yarn, and a woolen spun yarn is going to have more structure to the fabric, and a worsted spun yarn will have more drape to it. Generally, if a yarn is not labeled worsted spun or woolen spun, it is worsted spun. That's kind of the default. If it is woolen spun, it will likely be labeled as woolen spun. So either a 100% alpaca or a worsted spun wool yarn, or look for something that is a blend of, say, wool and alpaca, or perhaps something with, a yak and silk blend would be really drapey and really nice. Yak and silk, and wool, yak and silk. It's not generally all yak and silk, just yak and silk in that yarn. It's wool with a little bit of yak and a little bit of silk. Those are kind of more luxury yarns though. Or something, you know, that has a nice flow to it. Those would be good yarns to use for this slipover, the Mysa slipover. I'm probably doing this in a really weird order because I haven't podcasted in so long, so this might be really weird to start with yarn recommendations before I even tell you about it. Alright, let's take a few steps back and go back to the beginning. So you can see this dress that I'm wearing. I found it on a really good sale, like a really, really good sale. It is 100% cotton because I like my dresses to be natural fibers. It has pockets. I will not buy a dress that does not have pockets. I really like the color and the print of the fabric. The only downside to it is it has these really blousey, billowy sleeves. They are statement sleeves, but they're really big. They're quite large. That's just the style. They also have it ties at the end of the sleeve, and it's got these tassels to it. It's got a really nice print. If I move my head, you can see the print. I really like the color and the print and everything about it, except I didn't like these sleeves, but I thought, oh, for a really good deal, I could make do. But the trouble with these really, really billowy sleeves is you can't put it in a cardigan. Even like these stringy things, it just does not work to put it in a cardigan. Like, it's all bunched up in the sleeves. You can tell there's something bunched up in the sleeves of your cardigan, and it's really uncomfortable to wear. And I wasn't wearing this dress through the winter because it gets really cold here. I really need to be able to put a layer of wool on my upper body in order to wear something in the winter here. Like, it's, you know, when it's 12 degrees Fahrenheit and the wind is howling, you don't just go out in a cotton dress and see if you survive. Our dogs really do not like delivery drivers, so whenever UPS or FedEx comes, I always run out there and get the packages from them so they don't have to get out of their truck, because it's not nice when some strange dog is barking at you. So I am back now. So this dress has sleeves. I cannot wear a cardigan with it, but I really want to be able to wear it in the winter because I I don't do, like, a lot of people will change the color palette of their wardrobe throughout the seasons. Like, they will lighter colors in the summer and darker colors in the winter. I don't do that, although it is a really nice color for autumn and winter. I do wear it in the summer too. Not all summer because the sleeves are too warm, but I really want to be able to wear this dress in the summer. I cannot wear it under a cardigan, but I really need to be able to wear a wool layer over my upper body to keep me warm enough. So that's where the slipover comes in. I never thought I would want a slipover. Like, I think they look cool, but I never thought that it would be something that I would want to incorporate into my own wardrobe until I bought this dress. And I have these sleeves that just will not go into a cardigan. So it's like, I need a slipover to put over this dress. Then I'm gonna be warm and cozy because I'll wear wool leggings underneath, and the wool leggings have a higher waist. So this is cropped. You can't tell in the video, but this is this slipover is cropped. So I'll have wool leggings underneath and this slipover on top. And then I will be warm enough to wear this dress in the winter time. So that's why I wanted to knit a slipover. This dress has a lot going on with it. Oh, I left the door open so you can hear my children. Hang on. I'm out of my podcasting routine. So this dress has a lot going on with it. So it's got the billowy sleeves, it's got ties, it's got a really nice print on the fabric. The fabric does have some texture to it too. It's kind of waffly a little bit. I don't know how they managed to do that. It's not like a true waffle fabric, but it's got some texture to it. So there's a lot going on with this dress, and I'm not somebody who thinks more is more. I'm a less is more kind of person. So I don't want to have my wardrobe be statement piece on top of statement piece on top of statement piece. That's just too much for me. Like, I want one statement piece at most, or maybe even 0 statement pieces, but like one statement piece, and then everything else is just kind of calm background, complementary type pieces. So I wanted this slipover to be really minimalistic to wear with this dress. Excuse me. This minimalistic slipover paired with the dress that has a lot going on creates an outfit that I really like. I really like this outfit. It's not too much for me. I don't feel like it's too busy or too overpowering or anything like that. So to keep this minimalist, I decided to just do all over stockinette on this. I looked at a ton of slipovers, both on Ravelry and on Pinterest, kind of looking for the style and the shape that I wanted. So a lot of slipovers, they end right here. Like, if you were to make a set-in sleeve sweater and leave the sleeve off, they just end right here on your shoulders. I didn't really like that very much. I like the ones that come out over your shoulders and come down your sleeves a little bit, but it can't just be straight, because if it's straight, if it's wide but it's straight, then you end up with like, there's little roofs coming out from the sides of your shoulder, like just like you've got a little Star Trek uniform going on. I don't even know what Star Trek is, but if you have like a little sci-fi outfit going with your, you know, your outfit's coming out from your shoulders and then it goes down. I did not like that look. I wanted something that came out but followed the curve of my shoulder and came down the arm and just followed that slope down nicely. That's what I wanted. I know some people get really, really bothered by this little fold right here, because when you have a drop shoulder and it comes out here and it's just straight here and you put your arm down, it kind of folds right here, which I don't mind. I think it looks lovely and nice and just fine, but I know some people don't like it. But that doesn't bother me. And I also knew that I wanted it to be cropped, and I thought if I did a split high-low hem, that would look very cute too. So I did a split high-low hem, I cropped it. It's got a drop shoulder construction, but it's very, very minimalistic, very simple, very plain, very just that background piece that you wear with something else that's got a lot going on, and it just keeps you warm and cozy. It's got a few little style touches, but it's not the statement piece. It's the keep you warm while the statement piece does its thing kind of piece. So I called it the Mysa slipover. Mysa is a Swedish word that kind of means the same thing as hygge. It means cozy. It's a Swedish word that means cozy, so I thought that was a nice name for it. It is not Mysa, it's Mysa slipover, because I also realized as I was looking on Ravelry that it's really hard to find slipovers because there's not a separate category for the slipover. But if it has slipover in the name and you just type slipover into the search bar, you can find the slipovers. So it has slipover in the name, so if you type slipover into the search bar on Ravelry, you can find it, because it's not an attribute that you can actually sort for. I should email Ravelry and tell them to add that as an attribute. That would be a good idea. I don't know that they'll listen to me, but I can try. My sisters are making fun of me are texting me and making fun of me. So I'm going to show you how this is made. My hair is all in my face. So this is the back of the slipover. You cast on at the back neck and you add stitches for the shoulder line, which you can see there, and you add a few stitches for the front, and then you are knitting flat back and forth, and you're increasing on either side of this line. Let me hold it up right. You can see the line there coming up the center right here. That's the shoulder line, and you increase on either side of that shoulder line on both the right side and the wrong side rows. Whilst you shape the neck, it's got a crew neckline, so you're shaping the neck with increases here, and then you cast on stitches at the bottom of the neck, and you knit in the round for a while whilst you continue those increases until you get out here to the end of the shoulder, and then you split the front and the back, and you work the front and the back separately, and you work them flat until you get down here to the underarm, and then you cast on some underarm stitches on both sides, and then you knit the body in the round. And it's cropped, but it's knit from the top down, so if you want to make yours longer, you can. You can customize the length. When you're knitting from the top down, you can customize the length very easily, which is why I do a lot of my knits from the top down, because I need to add length because I'm very tall. And I know a lot of other people need to customize the length of their sweater or garment, whatever they're knitting, because either they're tall or they're short, because the size chart assumes like a 5'6" height woman. And so the size chart is based off of that average size woman, but very few of us are actually that size. So we need to make customizations for ourselves. So I always add length. You may need to add length or remove it, but it's really easy knitting from the top down. And then you come down here and you knit. You separate the front hem and the back hem, and you knit them separately. The front is 2 inches long and the back is 4 inches long, so you have this really cool high-low effect. The sunshine is really making this blow out. Let me come closer over here. You have the front and the back here. And I've got them finished with a really tidy little edging. It's not difficult to work. You kind of slip stitches, and it's almost like a little bit of I-cord, but not quite, but that's kind of the same idea. It's all written out for you in the pattern. And then it creates this really nice finish on the edge of the ribbing that lies flat. So this edge of the ribbing, this raw edge of the ribbing essentially will not roll on you. You've got a nice edge to it, and it's gonna stay straight and neat, because if you don't put some kind of finishing on this edge of the ribbing, it will do funky things. So I've got a little finishing on the edge of the ribbing so it looks nice, and then you come up back and you pick up stitches around the armhole, and you just knit an inch of ribbing just to finish off the armhole nice and neat. And you also come back and pick up the stitches for the neckline, and you just knit, I think this is 3 inches. You just knit a 3-inch neckline so you have a funnel neck. If you didn't want a funnel neck, it would be very easy to modify. You could just knit an inch and have a standard crew neck. Or there's something that I've kind of got in my mind for in the future. If this is alpaca, I'm not sure how it's going to wear. I'm a little bit worried that it's going to wear poorly and my neckline is going to end up saggy someday. So when my neckline ends up getting saggy because I knit this in alpaca, if it does, I don't know if it will or not, but I'm kind of wondering if it will, because it's not, alpaca doesn't have a lot of structure to it. It has a lot of drape to it, but it doesn't have a lot of structure to it. So if my alpaca neckline gets saggy, I'm just going to roll it over and sew it down. I've already planned this. So if you yourself wanted to do this, you could do this right off the get-go. This is your project. You don't have to do it the exact same way I do it, even though I give you instructions, so you can. I'm just gonna roll it over and sew it down and have a folded neckline if my funnel neck gets saggy. So that's my plan. But I wanted something really cozy for when it's, you know, the wind is howling and it's brutally cold out. So I did a funnel neckline because it's super cozy. It's super nice and warm. I remember when I was a kid and my mom would always wear turtlenecks and I'd be like, oh, that's so dorky. And I'm like, that's nice and cozy. I think I want one. So this is the Misa Slipover. The kids are going to Grandma's house tomorrow, so I'm going to work really hard to get this video, well, not just get this video edited and ready to upload, but also get everything ready to release this pattern tomorrow. It was supposed to come out today, but I am weeks behind on absolutely everything at this point. So I'm going to work really hard to try to get it out tomorrow. So that would be Tuesday the 29th. You will probably be watching this video after Tuesday the 29th. So I'm going to put links down in the description box below this video with links to the pattern. If you are watching this video during the launch period, the new pattern launch I usually do over like 5 days, and I'll offer a discount for those first 5 days or so. I will include the coupon code for the new pattern launch time period that you can use to get this sweater at a discount. If you would like to get a better discount, or you're watching this far in the future and you'd like to get a discount on this pattern, sign up for my email newsletter. There's a link in the description box below. When you sign up, you get a coupon code for 20% off your first purchase, and then whenever I release new patterns, you get 20% off of my new releases. So please do sign up for my email newsletter. I think I have talked long enough. I have lots of other projects to show you next week, so make sure you subscribe to my channel and come back again next week, because there's another table, there's this table in my office, and there's another table in my office that I can look at from here, and it's like heaped with things to show you eventually, and we'll get to them. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. Until then, happy knitting, you guys. Bye.